Good morning. My name is Patrick Highsmith, and I'm the president and CEO of Timberline Resources. We thought we'd take this time today to walk you through the news release we've just put out about the latest results from our Eureka Gold project in Nevada. Today, we pushed out results on two drill holes, testing very different targets, but the results were really exciting, and we're really happy to see the project growing in this fashion. The first hole was actually just the completion of the assays of BHSE 220C, which was announced 3 weeks ago in our what we call the water well zone. It was the farthest north hole at 125 or 150 meter step out to the north. And we returned an interval of about 23 meters of 6.1 grams per ton gold, including 12 meters at about 9 grams per ton. We were super excited about that result, but we rushed those assays through on only a portion of the hole because we'd seen great looking geology there. So now we've completed the hole. And what we did is we added on the assays beneath that higher grade section. And now we see that that interval is actually much thicker, 44.2 meters now, averaging 4.1 grams per ton gold from 140 meters depth down hole. Still, it includes those higher grade intervals within that we reported a couple of weeks ago. You can see those grades have just gone up a little bit because there was also an overlimit assay where the lab reassays a high grade sample with a different method because of the higher concentrations of gold. And when we incorporate that, the average grade just ticked up a bit. So this is one of the thicker and highest grade intercepts yet drilled in the water well zone. It's on the far north of that system, wide open to the north, northwest, and out to the east. And we'll look at a direct comparison with the reverse circulation hole there that we talked about 3 weeks ago in that news release shortly. 206C was drilled east of the water well zone into an induced polarization chargeability anomaly, or an IP anomaly. This is looking at the electrical properties of the rock. We announced that last year in about February of 2021. We announced those results of that IP anomaly, and we've been talking about it ever since and sort of drilling around the edges. But this time we got into the guts of that anomaly. The hole passed through 300 meters of intensely altered and mineralized rock, and including some long runs of anomalous gold and silver. It's a great story there. It's better to show you when we're looking at the cross section, sort of the meaning of those results. But in a nutshell, great results of Carlin type gold mineralization continuing to come back in the water well zone. This northern hole, 220C, has really opened things up now because we know we've got a 40-meter plus interval of consistent mineralization down there. And of course, testing this IP anomaly and seeing that there is in fact mineralization down there really kind of brings the district together. It sort of ties the water well zone on the west to this IP anomaly and to the Oswego zone on the east. And of course, many of you will know we're still waiting on some drill results from the Oswego target, which we're expecting in April. So let's just look at the first figure to get you located. Here is the historic Lookout Mountain resource, the small open pit within it. And then these red discs show you high-grade gold intercepts beneath the resource and at Lookout South down here. But this is the area we've been drilling and announcing results in recently, including hole 220C here at the northern end of the water well zone. And we've just hatchered the target areas there, showing you how open this area is on the north side. We're also going to talk about hole 206C, almost 300 meters east of there, which was a core hole down into this big gray blob you see here that we've labeled as the IP anomaly. And don't forget, here sits the Oswego prospect across the valley to the east here. So we're just going to look at a cross-sectional view through here to show you how these results look in cross-section. So as we said, this hole 206C has tested the geophysical anomaly, and we did encounter sulfide mineralization like pyrite and other sulfide minerals. We also encountered carbonaceous material, black carbon-bearing parts of the rock that may be the source of that chargeability anomaly. Now, the gold and silver we intersected here were not of economic grade and width. However, they're sort of like near-miss numbers, long runs of low-grade gold, significant silver with that. It tells you that we probably have multiple types of mineral systems beneath this IP anomaly. So let's just look at this cross-section. So here is the water well zone drilling and hole 220C, which you can see here. We also drilled an RC hole here and an RC hole here that encountered at the base of the Dunderberg Shale this beautiful run of 44 meters of over 4 grams with the higher grade intervals within it. We've hatchered the areas where we believe the most prospective targets occur here at the contact of the Dunderberg Shale and the Hamburg Dolomite. It dips out into this basin we call the Graben Zone. And here is 206C. It's actually drilled to the northeast. So we're looking north. It's a little bit of a funny angle here in 3 dimensions. But here's the geology there. We pass down through a significant section of limestones here, probably the Antelope Valley Formation. And then you see with this shape here that we've sort of idealized is an intrusive body coming up through there. It's probably an aplite in composition, sort of like a granite, but very fine grained. And you can see here, we've hypothesized exactly the shape of it. Imagine this molten intrusive rock coming up, cross-cutting these limestones. The heat is going to be affecting them, but it was bringing mineralizing fluids with it. Here's a nice run of 30 meters of 0.4 grams of gold, which included 7.6 meters of a gram. A long run of lower grade gold that goes down into the intrusive part of the system. Here's the IP anomaly shown as this blob here. So you can see we got right into the heart of it with this drill hole. Silver, pretty impressive, 18 meters of 9 grams, including 3 meters of over 40 grams silver, kind of at the top where the intrusive is punching up into the sedimentary rocks. And then again, more intervals of anomalous silver. Key element here, this is probably an older mineral system. This is probably Cretaceous aged, silver, lead, zinc mineralization, and that is what the Eureka Mining District was founded on in 1863 when the discovery was made here. The Carlin type gold mineralization probably came in later around those rocks. Sometimes the pre-event here that may have altered those rocks, may have made them brittle or more reactive, might have been very conducive to the later Carlin type mineralization coming in around it. So that's what you're seeing here, an older mineral system that had not been known in this area. This is really new information geologically, and the Carlin type gold flanking it and around it. So really exciting stuff. And sure, there's some spectacular drill targets out here around that, but we're most interested in what the fluids are doing here. They've come up this fault and perhaps mineralized the water well zone. And of course, this system may all be linked to the Oswego target here, just across the valley to the east. This could all be related to this big IP anomaly at depth that we've now tested. So great results there, not ore grade yet, but very important sort of near miss grades around that IP anomaly. And we'll just round out the discussion here by talking about these results from 220C, because it was a comparison between an RC hole, BHSE 205, and the core hole we've been speaking about. These were drilled less than 2 meters apart, and you can see the comparative intervals now reported from the reverse circulation hole 3 weeks ago, 36.6 meters of a bit over a gram. We can see by direct comparison with the core now, the core results have probably given us more sound assays of this rock. And the reason is when you drill RC, you've pulverized that rock, you're only sampling chips that have been blown up the hole, and those chips can be rinsed by the groundwater, washing off the fine grained material, for instance, or diluted from chips of other rocks higher up in the hole. Either of those could result in an underreporting of the grade from RC versus core, and so far the data supports that. We're planning to twin more of these RC holes with core holes to really nail down the grade and the nature of the mineralization at the water well zone. And at the end of the news release, we've given you a graphical comparison of the RC hole on the right and the core hole on the left, assay by assay. And you can see here a robust zone of mineralization showed up with both drilling methods. But boy, the core results were much higher with a long run, as you can see here, of 9.3 grams, 7.7, 15.5 grams, 12.05 grams, and so on. So you see a much more robust interval represented in the core, but the geology is very similar, and probably this reverse circulation sampling was affected by that groundwater or by dilution from these rocks up above, which don't carry much gold. So I hope that helps you understand these results and put the success we're having at the water well zone in context. And stay tuned. We've drilled the Oswego target just across the valley from here, and we undercut some great mineralization at the surface. So let's hope those numbers come in strong as well. And stay tuned for the next Timberline news release, probably in April. Thanks very much.